Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something straight from the heart. We spend so much time searching for complicated answers, chasing big strategies, and looking for that one breakthrough that will turn everything around. But the truth is, life doesn't change because of one giant leap. It changes because of one simple habit you choose to put into practice, one decision you make consistently, one action that sets the tone for everything else. And tonight, I want to share with you the one habit that will change your life overnight: gratitude. Ladies and gentlemen, the first thing you need to understand is this: life will never give you more if you don't learn to appreciate what you already have. I see so many people waking up every morning complaining, frustrated, angry about what they don't possess, about what hasn't happened yet, about how life has been unfair to them. And listen, I'm not here to tell you life has always been fair, because it hasn't. Every single one of us has had seasons that broke us down, struggles that seemed unbearable, and nights we didn't know how we would make it to the morning. But here's the thing: if all you focus on is what's missing, you'll never notice what's present. Gratitude starts with shifting that focus. Gratitude is saying, God, thank you for waking me up this morning. Thank you for breath in my lungs. Thank you for the roof over my head, even if it ain't the dream house yet. Thank you for this meal, even if it's not a feast. And once you learn to acknowledge the blessings already in your hands, that's when more begins to flow your way. Think about it like this: if you gave a child a gift, and every time you gave them something, they tossed it aside, complained about the color, complained about the size, complained that it wasn't enough, how likely are you to keep giving them more? But when that child lights up with excitement, cherishes the gift, and says thank you, you feel inspired to give them more. That's how God works. That's how life works. You can't be blessed with more until you're grateful for the little you already got. And when you make gratitude a habit, not just a thought, but a practice, it sets you up for multiplication. See, a lot of folks pray for big breakthroughs. They pray for wealth, for promotions, for opportunities, for love. And while they're praying, they ignore the small blessings sitting right in front of them every day. They overlook the friend who checks on them, the job that still puts food on the table, the talent they have but haven't developed, the fact that their heart is still beating and their mind is still sharp. When you're blind to what you already have, you block yourself from receiving more. The Bible even says, to whom much is given, much is required. But the first requirement is gratitude. Until you pass that test, you're not ready for the next level. Let me share something from my own journey. When I was broke, sleeping in my car, barely scraping by, I had two choices: either sit in self-pity and complain, or thank God that I still had a car to sleep in. Thank God that I still had the gift of making people laugh. Thank God that He woke me up to see another day. Gratitude was the fuel that kept me going when I had nothing, and that's why I'm standing here today telling you it will change your life, because I've lived it. If I had stayed bitter about what I didn't have, I would have missed the opportunities that finally came my way. But because I stayed grateful for what little I did have, God knew I was ready to handle more. And gratitude isn't just for the good times. Gratitude is powerful when you can thank God in the middle of the storm. That's when it shows real strength. Anybody can be thankful when everything is working out. But when life is throwing punches at you, when people are doubting you, when bills are piling up, when your dreams seem out of reach, and you can still find something to be grateful for, that's when the blessing multiplies. Gratitude is like a seed. You plant it by saying thank you, and then it grows into something bigger than you imagine. So ladies and gentlemen, if you want to change your life overnight, start right here. Don't wait until you've made it. Don't wait until the conditions are perfect. Don't wait until you have everything you think you deserve. Look around you right now today and appreciate what you already got. That simple shift in perspective will open doors you never thought possible. Gratitude is the master key, and once you hold it, every lock in your life starts to open. Ladies and gentlemen, gratitude has this unique ability to take what looks like a problem and transform it into a possibility. Most people wake up in the morning and the first thing they see are their struggles. They look at the pile of bills on the counter, the job they don't enjoy, the relationship that isn't working out, the health issues that wear them down, and they think, man, I can't catch a break. But let me tell you something. The break you're waiting on is often hidden inside that very problem, and the only way you're ever going to see it is through gratitude. When you thank God, even for the difficulties, your vision changes. You stop asking, why me? And you start asking, what's this teaching me? What can I learn from this? Where is this taking me? And when you make that shift, suddenly what looked like a closed door starts to reveal itself as an open path. See, every problem is really a classroom. That difficulty you're facing is not designed to destroy you. It's designed to develop you. But if you walk into that classroom with bitterness, resentment, and self-pity, you're never going to learn a lesson. Gratitude is what allows you to sit down in the middle of your storm and say, okay, Lord, I don't like this situation, but thank you for trusting me with it. Thank you that you're shaping me. Thank you that this pain is preparing me for purpose. And let me tell you, when you can be grateful in that space, that's when your test turns into a testimony. Think about it. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is purified in fire. Strong muscles are built under resistance. The very things we complain about are the things that shape us into who we're supposed to become. That setback at work might just be preparing you to step into your own business. That heartbreak might be teaching you what true love is supposed to look like. That illness might be giving you a deeper appreciation for life and health. The problem doesn't have to be the end of your story. It can be the beginning of a brand new chapter. Gratitude is what flips the script. I'll tell you from my own life, when I was out there struggling, when the comedy gigs weren't paying enough, when I was living in my car, I had two options: complain or give thanks. And let me be honest, there were nights I wanted to give up, nights I was angry, nights I thought this can't be it. But the moment I started saying, thank you, Lord, for giving me another show to perform, even if it's small, thank you for keeping my dream alive, even if the road is rough, everything started to shift. Those problems became possibilities. That car I was sleeping in wasn't just a place of despair, it was proof that I still had somewhere to rest my head. That little paycheck wasn't just barely enough, it was God showing me that he could sustain me until something bigger came along. Gratitude gave me the eyes to see beyond the struggle. And here's the truth. When you start to practice gratitude in the face of your problems, people around you notice. Your energy changes. Your conversations change. You stop spreading negativity and start speaking life. And when you speak life, opportunities start showing up. People are drawn to someone who can see light in the darkness. They'll want to work with you, support you, and open doors for you. Gratitude is contagious. It spreads and transforms not only your problems, but the way people respond to you in those problems. So when life hits you with challenges, don't fold. Don't sit there and complain. Step back and say, I may not understand this, but I'm grateful because I know it's taking me somewhere. And the more you practice that habit, the more your problems will reveal their hidden potential. What looks like a burden today may be the very blessing that changes your life tomorrow. All you need is the perspective that gratitude provides. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most powerful truths I've ever learned is that gratitude attracts abundance. See, some folks don't realize that the energy you carry is like a signal you send out to the world, and the world responds accordingly. If you always walk around bitter, complaining about what you don't have, mad at the world because things aren't moving as fast as you like, then you're pushing opportunities away. You may not even realize it, but that negative energy acts like a wall that keeps blessings from getting close to you. But the moment you shift your attitude to gratitude, the whole frequency of your life changes. You begin to pull things toward you that were never showing up before. Gratitude is a magnet. It draws abundance, favor, opportunities, and good people into your life. Think about this for a second. When you meet somebody who's constantly negative, always complaining, always talking about how unfair life is, don't you feel drained just being around them? You want to leave that conversation as quickly as possible. But when you meet somebody who's grateful, somebody who can smile even when things aren't perfect, somebody who sees the bright side, you feel lifted just being in their presence. That's because gratitude radiates a kind of light that people want to be near. And people will open doors for you, recommend you, and support you when they feel good around you. That's how abundance finds its way to grateful people. Now, I know some folks will say, Steve, how can I be grateful when I don't have enough, when I'm struggling, when I'm lacking? But here's the secret. You don't wait until you have abundance to be grateful. You become grateful first, and abundance follows. Gratitude is like planting seeds in the soil. You water the little patch of ground you have by saying, thank you for this small job. Thank you for this one opportunity. Thank you for this little bit of progress. And before you know it, that patch grows into a field, and that field produces a harvest. Gratitude is the watering can that makes the seed of abundance grow. Without it, your seed dries up. I'll give you a personal example. When I was coming up in comedy, I wasn't performing in sold-out arenas. I was performing in small clubs, sometimes for a handful of people. I could have looked at those nights and thought, man, this isn't worth it. This isn't enough. But instead, I chose to be grateful for the stage, no matter how small. I thank God for the chance to work on my craft, to make people laugh, even if it was just 3 people in the audience. That gratitude changed the energy I carried on stage, and people could feel it. Promoters could feel. That's why bigger opportunities started showing up. Gratitude pulled abundance my way, not the other way around. And let me tell you, abundance isn't just about money. It's about relationships, peace, opportunities, and joy. When you practice gratitude, you'll notice that better people come into your life. You'll notice that creative ideas start flowing. You'll notice that solutions to problems suddenly appear. It's like your gratitude unlocks a part of the universe that had been waiting for you to get your attitude right. That's why ungrateful people stay stuck. They can't attract more because they keep repelling it with negativity. Gratitude also sends a message to God. It tells him, Lord, I trust you. I know you're not done with me yet. I appreciate what you've already done, and I believe there's more coming. And God responds to that. He's not in the business of rewarding ungrateful hearts. But when you live in appreciation, he pours out blessings that you don't even have room to contain. That's why gratitude isn't just good manners. It's a spiritual principle that shifts your entire reality. So if you want abundance in your life, don't chase it in frustration. Stop running after it with desperation. Stand still, look around, and give thanks for what you've already got. That act of gratitude will change your energy, shift your perspective, and draw abundance toward you like a magnet. And when it comes, it won't just trickle, it'll overflow. Ladies and gentlemen, gratitude creates joy in the present. That's one of the most important truths I learned in my life. And it's something too many people miss. You see, a lot of folks are walking around waiting for happiness like it's some destination they'll finally reach when all the stars line up. They say things like, I'll be happy when I get that promotion. I'll be happy when I buy that house. I'll be happy when I find the right person. I'll be happy when my bank account looks the way I want it to. But let me ask you something. What if that moment never comes? What if the promotion takes longer than you thought, or the house doesn't happen yet, or the relationship falls through? Does that mean you spend all that time unhappy? That's no way to live. Gratitude changes that because it teaches you to find joy right now in the middle of whatever season you're in. When you start practicing gratitude, you stop postponing your joy. You stop putting conditions on your happiness. You stop telling yourself you'll celebrate someday, and instead you find reasons to celebrate today. And the beautiful thing is, joy doesn't come from everything being perfect. Joy comes from noticing what's already good, what's already working, what's already a blessing. Gratitude helps you see that. Gratitude shines a light on the present moment and says, this is enough. Right here, right now, I have something to be thankful for. And when you start living like that, your whole spirit changes. Think about how many people spend their days replaying the past. They're carrying regrets, carrying guilt, carrying old wounds like baggage on their back. Or they're so far ahead in the future that they're filled with worry, anxiety, and fear about things that haven't even happened yet. Gratitude is what pulls you back into the present. Gratitude is the voice that says, forget yesterday, it's already gone. Stop stressing about tomorrow, it hasn't even arrived yet. Look at today. There's something here for you to appreciate. And when you can find joy in today, you've already won no matter what's going on around you. Carly, I remember when I was broke, sleeping in my car, I didn't have a lot to be excited about. But you know what I had to do? I had to start thanking God for small things. I had to thank him for giving me another chance to try. I had to thank him for my talent, even if it wasn't paying yet. I had to thank him for the sunrise, for the laughter of strangers, for the little meals I could afford. And those small moments of gratitude brought me joy even when my situation wasn't joyful. That joy kept me going. It gave me strength when everything around me said I should quit. That's how powerful gratitude is. It doesn't change your circumstances overnight, but it changes how you feel about them. And that's what gives you the strength to keep pushing until your circumstances catch up. Another thing gratitude does is it makes you realize that joy doesn't come from possessions. We live in a world where everybody's chasing the next car, the next gadget, the next vacation, thinking that's where happiness is. But look around. You see people with money, fame, and everything the world says you should want, and they're still miserable. Why? Because joy is not about what you own. It's about how you see what you already have. A grateful person with little is far richer than an ungrateful person with much. Gratitude makes your portion feel full. And that fullness is where true joy lives. Gratitude also has a way of changing the atmosphere. When you walk into a room with a grateful spirit, people feel it. You smile more. You speak more kindly. You carry yourself with peace. And that energy is contagious. It lifts others up. Before you know it, not only are you joyful, but you spreading that joy everywhere you go. And that's how gratitude multiplies. Because when you create joy in the present, you create joy in the lives of everyone around you too. So the key to joy is not waiting on the perfect conditions. The key is gratitude. Right now, today, if you start counting your blessings, even the small ones, you'll find more reasons to smile, more reasons to laugh, more reasons to enjoy the moment. And once you live like that, you don't just have joy for a day, you create a life filled with joy, no matter what comes your way. Ladies and gentlemen, Gratitude keeps you humble. And let me tell you, humility is one of the greatest strengths a person can have because it keeps you grounded no matter how high you climb. You see, success has a funny way of changing people. Money, fame, recognition, these things can make you forget where you came from. They can make you think you did it all on your own, that you pulled yourself up by your bootstraps without any help. But the truth is, nobody makes it to the top by themselves. Somewhere along the way, somebody opened the door. Somebody gave you a chance. Somebody said your name in a room full of opportunities. And above all of that, God put his hand on you. Gratitude is what reminds you of that truth. Gratitude says, I didn't get here alone. I'm not entitled to this. This is a blessing, and I'm thankful for it. That's the spirit that keeps you humble. Now, humility doesn't mean thinking less of yourself. It doesn't mean denying your gifts or pretending you're not talented. No, humility is knowing exactly how gifted you are, but still recognizing that those gifts were given to you. Gratitude is what helps you remember that. When you wake up every morning and say, thank you, Lord, for this talent, for this opportunity, for this platform, you keep yourself from getting puffed up. You stay approachable, teachable, and relatable. And that humility not only protects your character, but it also attracts even more blessings because people love working with someone who has success without arrogance. I've seen people in this business who started out hungry, humble, grateful for every little opportunity. But once they tasted success, they lost their gratitude. They started thinking every blessing was owed to them, like the world revolved around them. And you know what happens to folks like that? Eventually, life has a way of humbling them. Because when you stop being grateful, you stop appreciating the very things that keep you moving forward. You stop treating people right. You stop remembering the grind that got you there. And eventually, people don't want to deal with you, and blessings slip through your fingers. That's why gratitude is so important. It keeps you from self-destructing when success shows up. I'll tell you from my own experience. When I started making money, when doors started opening, when the fame came, it would have been easy to let it go to my head. But I never let myself forget those days, sleeping in my car, those nights of struggle, those prayers I cried out when nobody knew my name. Gratitude kept me grounded. It reminded me that everything I had was a gift from God. It reminded me to treat people right, whether they could do something for me or not. It reminded me to give back, to help others, to use my blessings to bless somebody else. That's what humility looks like. It's gratitude in action. And let me tell you something else. Humility keeps you growing. The moment you think you've arrived, the moment you think you know it all, that's the moment you stop learning. But when you're grateful, you stay open. You can sit down with someone younger or less experienced and still learn something from them. You don't see yourself as too big to receive wisdom, too important to listen. Gratitude teaches you that every person you meet has value. Every situation has a lesson, and every blessing has a source. That attitude will take you farther than talent alone ever could. So if you want to stay grounded, if you want to make sure your success lasts, practice gratitude. Don't ever let yourself believe you're entitled to the things you have. Remember where you came from, remember who helped you, and remember who blessed you. Gratitude will keep you humble, and humility will keep you rising without ever forgetting your foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, gratitude brings peace. And in the kind of world we're living in right now, peace is one of the most valuable things you can have. Every day, people are rushing, competing, comparing themselves to everybody else. They're scrolling through social media, looking at somebody else's highlight reel, and then beating themselves up because their life doesn't look the same. They're carrying stress from their jobs, pressure from their families, fear about the future, regret about the past, and the weight of it all is breaking them down. But gratitude is like a reset button for your soul. Gratitude calms the noise. Gratitude shifts your focus away from everything you think you're missing and puts your heart at ease by reminding you of everything you already had. When you truly start practicing gratitude, you stop fighting battles that were never yours to fight. And that brings you a peace that money can't buy. See, peace doesn't come from everything around you being perfect. Peace comes from knowing that even in the middle of imperfection, you're still blessed. Gratitude is what teaches you that. When you can sit in the middle of chaos and still say, thank you, Lord, for this day, for this breath, for this chance to try again, you invite peace into your heart. And once that peace is in you, it doesn't matter what's happening around you. Storms can rage, but you won't be moved. Gratitude anchors you. A grateful heart doesn't envy. One of the biggest thieves of peace is comparison. People see what others have and start wishing they had the same, and before long, jealousy eats them alive. But when you're grateful, you stop looking sideways. You don't envy what your neighbor has because you're too busy appreciating your own blessings. You realize that your story is unique. Your journey is yours. And what's meant for you cannot miss you. That mindset alone will bring a level of peace that comparison can never touch. A grateful heart doesn't compete either. Now, don't get me wrong. Competition in the sense of pushing yourself to be better is healthy. But competing out of insecurity, competing because you think somebody else's success means your failure, that will drain you. Gratitude stops that. Gratitude says there's enough for all of us. Their blessing doesn't take away from mine. My time is coming. And until then, I'm thankful for what that kind of thinking frees you. It takes you out of the rat race and puts you in a lane of your own. And when you're not constantly competing and comparing, peace naturally flows into your life. Another thing gratitude does is it teaches you trust. When you live in gratitude, you start to believe that God is in control, that he hasn't forgotten you, and that everything you need will arrive in due time. That trust removes anxiety. You no longer spend your nights awake worrying about what's next because gratitude reminds you of how far you've already come. If he's brought you this far, why would he leave you now? That's where peace comes from, the confidence of knowing you're not walking this journey alone. I remember times in my life when everything felt uncertain. I didn't know how the bills would get paid. I didn't know where the next opportunity would come from. If I had focused only on the uncertainty, I would have drowned in fear. But instead, I practiced gratitude. I thank God for what I did have, no matter how small. And you know what happened? The more grateful I was, the calmer I felt. My circumstances didn't change overnight, but my spirit did. And that peace gave me the strength to keep moving until the breakthrough finally came. That's what gratitude does. It may not erase the storm, but it will give you peace in the middle of it. So understand this, peace isn't about everything outside you being calm. Peace is about everything inside you being steady, no matter the chaos. And the quickest way to find that peace is through gratitude. Everything you speak is like building a fortress around your mind and your heart, protecting you from the anxiety and negativity of this world. And once you live with that kind of peace, you move differently, you love differently, and you show up for life in a way that nothing can shake.